Hi there, my name is Stephanie Dunn and I'm the founder of Nutrition QED, and today I want to talk to you about what an amazing body you have. Now I know that sounds kind of silly because I'm sure that you know that you have an amazing body, but this is the thing. Lots of us are walking around not feeling as good as we could. We have digestive issues, we get headaches on a regular basis, maybe our energy just isn't where it needs to be, maybe our joints hurt. And we've gone to doctors and we've talked to other professionals, and most of them are saying either it's just part of getting older, we've run lots of tests and we can't find anything specifically wrong, or maybe even the worst one, it's all in your head. And this is the thing, that's not necessarily the case. Now, I'm no doctor and I haven't been to medical school, but I do love science and I love the way the body works. And so I want to explain to you why you may not have to take that as the answer. Your body is an incredible system as a whole, and it is made up of smaller systems. So I created this little chart, which I get is kind of busy because I wanted to just give you an idea of how complex your body is. So at the top there are all these systems that exist in your body. Everything from your immune system to the fact that you are capable of having a baby through your fertility, that you have hormones, that you both digest food, create energy from it, and then eliminate things that you don't need. That you need to detoxify from all the chemicals that are in our environment and the things that we produce simply as part of being humans. That you have muscles and bones and joints and cells that make up those bigger pieces. That you have a heart that needs to function, and you have all these neurotransmitters that have impacts in your brain. And the thing is this isn't even all the systems, right? Like you also have your genetic code and the epigenetics that sit on top of that, and you have a mind with emotions and your spirit, and all of those work together to create this amazing human that you are. Now when something starts to go wrong, like you get that headache, or you feel tired, or your stomach doesn't quite feel right, it's because there's some sort of imbalance happening, that the system, either one of them or all of them, are no longer functioning the way they can. Now there are many causes of imbalance, but I've categorized these into 5, which I have learned through my mentors. Stress is a huge one, can impact your sleep, can impact how you're eating. It actually has impacts throughout your entire body, as well as how you behave, and those have impacts on your body. Toxins around us in the air we breathe and the water we drink. Infections, whether that's viral, bacterial, or parasitic. Food, and by food I mean both the junk food that we eat by choice and the junk food we're eating on accident because of these big food companies that are generating crap that we are then eating. But it could also be that there are particular foods that don't work for you, that you have an adverse reaction to them whenever you eat them, and that can include healthy foods, for the record. Or a nutritional deficiency, and that could mean that either your diet doesn't contain all the nutrients that you need, or that your body isn't capable of using them. So this gives you an idea that you are an incredibly complex system and some things that can cause imbalances in your body. Now I want to show you a more specific example than this. So this is another little diagram that I made. It's kind of complicated as I started drawing lines and adding more things to it because the system is so complex. It started to get a little bit out of hand. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what I was trying to convey with this, while also hoping that you will forgive my over busy drawing here. So the first thing is that we have our brains, and that tends to be the control center of the body, but it doesn't do everything for us. There are things that originate in other places outside of the brain. But for this particular example, we're going to talk about the hypothalamus that's up in your brain, and it creates hormones, both CRH and TRH, that impact your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland then creates lots of hormones, including ACTH and TSH, and those impact other glands, right? So you can see how there's this cascading effect throughout the body where these hormones start in one place, they carry a message to another organ, and then they cause that organ to create another message for another organ. And on top of all of this, you have other factors that can come in from other places. So I want to talk about the thyroid because a lot of people, especially women, are having issues with thyroid these days. So the first thing to know is that if your doctor has tested TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, they're actually testing what the pituitary is doing to the thyroid. They're not actually testing the thyroid function at all. The thyroid then creates a hormone called T4 and a small amount of T3, but mostly T4. The reason this is interesting is that T4 then has to go to your liver and your gut and your brain, as well as a few other places, in order to be converted into T3. And T3 is the hormone that actually has the impact directly on the cells themselves. However, your thyroid can be impacted in lots of ways. So obviously it can be impacted based on what the pituitary gland thinks is going on with the thyroid. But on top of that, cortisol, which is created by your adrenal glands, can also impact what your thyroid does and what it thinks it needs to do. And then we can add to that the immune system. So lots more people are showing up with autoimmunity of the thyroid these days, and those are antibodies created by the immune system that are attacking the thyroid. So you can have a problem with the thyroid that is coming from any of these various sources, and that impact can show up in symptoms in all sorts of ways. Thyroid problems manifest as trouble losing weight, or hair falling out, or an intolerance to cold, or weak or brittle fingernails. There are lots of ways that these symptoms can show up that are happening with your thyroid. And the thing is the problem might not actually be with your thyroid at all. It could be with your pituitary gland, or it could be that you're stressed, or it could be that for some reason your immune system has decided that your thyroid's a problem and has started attacking it. It could also be that there's an infection hanging out in your thyroid. Maybe there's a virus that has decided to call your thyroid home. A good example of that might be the Epstein-Barr virus. So this is a really busy chart to try to show you how all of these systems that I talked about before actually interwork with each other to create the big system that is you, and that these things at the bottom can cause imbalances in one or more of these places. And I want you to keep this in mind. The next time you realize that you don't feel as good as you want to feel, and honestly as good as you deserve to feel, consider that there's an imbalance going on, that something actually is off and that it's within your control to fix it. If it's stress, you can do practices that will relieve some stress. If it's an infection, there are lots of ways to take care of infections. Both your medical doctor can help with those things, but as well the foods that you eat can actually help you reduce infection in the body. And then obviously if it's a nutritional deficiency, there's certainly things that can be done about that. So I hope that you now have a better appreciation for you as a system, and that as you're dealing with your own health and your own well-being and how you feel on a day-to-day basis, that you will consider that everything is connected, and that if there's a problem in one area, it could be showing up in lots of areas throughout the body, and that there can be a cascade effect of both disease as those symptoms show up throughout your body, but also in healing. That as you start to heal the various systems, they can make other parts of the system feel good also.